All right, welcome to the weekend series preview with me, Stephen Willis, and Chad Smith. Right here, we're going to talk about Ole Miss versus South Carolina this weekend. Before we get started, though, I want to tell you about the Ole Miss Athletics Foundation's push for the Vault Society. The Vault Society is a 5-year commitment of support. A membership starts at $5,000 a year, and there's a benefit chart on the site. Well, you'll also get points with that, and as you know, seating points lock in. I think this week. I think this is the deadline for seating points to lock in. And that means all gifts to Ole Miss between now and June 30th will receive triple points, but we need to lock in the seatings this week. Red points are non-deductible and go towards priority seating. Blue points are 90% tax deductible and go towards parking and non-home ticketed games, postseason bowl games, and neutral site, etc. If you have any questions, go to the site at give2athletics.com. Again, that website is give2athletics.com. Also, I'm proud to be a partner of the rebelwalk.com. We do a lot of great stuff. Evelyn and her crew do a fantastic job providing a subscriber level experience for no money. It's only a time commitment, and well, time's precious. We all get that, but it's going to provide what you need. It's going to allow you to be a informed fan, and it's going to allow you to have fun and follow Ole Miss in a positive way. So go over to the rebelwalk.com for more information. All right. Here for the weekend preview, we got Chad Smith on the phone. We're going to talk about Ole Miss versus the South Carolina Gamecocks. I'm going to be honest, Chad. I don't know much about the South Carolina Gamecocks. What's going on with them?
Well, they've actually done pretty well this year. They've got a 26-12 record, 11-7 in 11-7 in the SEC, and coming into this series, they're a little more limping like we are. They've had some tough series this year where they could have won a couple more games actually, but they came up against the likes of LSU and Vandy. Vanderbilt took care of them, where in one of those games, South Carolina actually had a chance to take the series. So this is not going to be an easy task at all for Ole Miss this weekend. They can do it all. They're pretty much a well-rounded team. They can bat for power. They can hit the ball, in spots where they need to. They can also steal a lot of bases. And in just a moment, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about their two main guys that can hit the ball out of the park at will.
Okay. Well, that's a scary thought to think of. Before we move on to that, any status update on Gunner?
So nothing publicly that has come out about Gunner being out this week. All systems are go unless he starts to warm up on Friday night for his pitch or for his trip to the mound. If he starts to experience that stiffness, that soreness that he had on Friday this past weekend, then you're going to see another start by Diamond. Coach Bianco is not going to harm his. I think we all know Coach Bianco is not going to harm his ace, and that's not just for us for the rest of the season. It's more because Gunner is a part of the family, and Gunner has a huge career ahead of him. So we want to make sure that everything's in good shape and he moves forward and heals up properly. Should he need another game, we'll push him to the next weekend.
Okay. And for basically last week, for 23 innings, LSU kind of dominated all three phases: batting, pitching, and defense. But the last 5 innings, Ole Miss kind of found their groove. Is that more of what we can expect from this team, or do we have reasons to be concerned?
A little of both. At this point, we're looking for a lot of production from our freshmen, and they really came through on Saturday or on Sunday. Excuse me. Was it Saturday? No, it was Saturday. I apologize. It's been a few days, but Saturday. So we had a lot of production in the latter half of the game from our the bottom of the lineup. TJ McCants is one. He blasted that grand slam homer. That got us tied. But before that, uh, we had, let's see, just looking through the notes from last week, Leatherwood is another one. He has really stepped up and really brought some power with him as well. You can start to see Cale Baker's bat come around. He had a few hits this weekend, and as well, we need Ben Van Cleve to find his stroke as well. But as far as the bottom half of the lineup, they really started to contribute this week, and we almost need to get a little bit more out of the top of our lineup, what we spoke about last week, and get us started. Start us out, get us 2 or 3 runs in the beginning of the game, in the first inning or so, and really blow it wide open. Let the back end of the lineup come up and just blow it open.
Yes, absolutely. Back to South Carolina, real quick. We're going to go over the pitching now. Who do we have to look forward to on Friday?
On Friday, first of all, Gunner's going to go up. Gunner is 3-2. He's got a 2.7 ERA, and with South Carolina, they're going to start their ace, Thomas Farr. He is 2-4. It's got a 3.36 ERA. And Farr may sound like he's subpar with his record. Don't be fooled by that. Uh, this kid can throw a high velocity fastball with a plus fastball in the 96 range. Typically keeps his fastball in the 92 to 94 range. But he'll use that 96 plus mile an hour as high heat and change the level of the batter's eyes. And once he does that, all bets are off for the batter. He's also got a changeup that's got a sinking action on it at about 85 to 88 miles an hour that he uses in contrast to his fastball. And he's also got an excellent curveball, which you don't find this very often. You typically find either a great fastball pitcher with a changeup and a curve that they'll throw just to expand the zone a little bit. This kid, Farr, it looks like he's the real deal when it comes to a curveball, and he throws it in the mid-90s, and it's routinely thrown for strikeouts. So when he goes out there, he's not just throwing that curveball, here and there in between his fastballs. He's actually getting people to swing through and strike themselves out.
Okay, he obviously has good stuff. Is he around the zone? What's his strikeout to walk ratio?
Sure, his strikeout to walk ratio.
Sorry to put you on the spot there. I'm just curious about that.
No, no. Let's see. Farr is he's got 69 strikeouts to only 26 walks.
Okay.
So he's not, his control is not 100% all the time. He's not a huge strikeout to walk guy, but you know, the way that he works the zone, if we take the bait and hit for that 96 mile an hour fastball, and we don't hit the curveball well with this guy, he's going to eat our lunch on Friday night. So we definitely need to step up and jump out to an early lead, stay on it, and ride that wave all the way through the finish.
And before we move on to the next pitcher, I have a question for you. Do you think it's better to be a first pitch fastball hitting team with a guy like this, or to work the count a little bit?
Yes, actually, you stole one of my lines from my article this week. So that's exactly what I was saying. I fully believe that with a fastball pitcher, and even a pitcher in general, any general, I believe the number of strikes, first pitch strikes, is somewhere in the level of 67%. Is how many strikes you're going to see thrown as a first strike. With this guy, he's going to be up there, if not a little bit above. You go up there and swing away your first strike. Okay, you can be a little bit more selective after that, but swing away your first strike. And if you're a timid hitter, that's what he's counting on, because you're gonna see that 96-mile-an-hour fastball and the spin on it and the way it looks, and he's going to make sure to change it up around the zone next time and plug in that curveball at will. That's deadly.
And is he a righty or a lefty?
He is a righty.
Okay. All right. So moving on to Saturday, what can we expect from that matchup?
Sure. So Nikhazy will get back up on the hill after a really heartbreaking loss last week to LSU. He pitched such a good game, but you know, LSU was just more relentless that day, and they kept plugging. And unfortunately, he went down with the loss to make him 4-2. But he's still got a 181 ERA. When you look at the opponent, South Carolina is going to bring in right-handed pitcher Brandon Jordan. He's 4-2. He's got a 3.04 ERA, and he's allowed last week against Arkansas. He allowed only 2 runs on 3 hits in 4.2 innings of work. That's not too shabby against the number 1 team in the nation. He didn't stay for very long, of course, but the main pitches that he's known for, he's got a fastball that's 90 to 92 miles an hour, may be able to push it up to 94, 95 when he leans back a little bit more, pulls back a little bit more. But his biggest pitch is his slurve. His slurve has tight rotation, elite tight rotation at 26 to 2700 RPM. What that means is it is moving. It's going to have depth. It's going to have action. It's going to have that tight rotation that you look for in an elite breaking ball. So we need to be watching for that and learn how to hit that very quickly. The best way to attack him, I know that was your next question, Stephen, but the best way to attack him is attach the first pitch. You attach him as a fastball hitter, attack that first pitch, and the analytics show that's what they need to do. It's most likely going to be the curve. It's most likely going to be a fastball, so that he can play his curve and develop his strike zone out to the left and the right, just so that he can make sure he can get all of the pitches, or all of the strike zone that he can get from the umpire. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and is any of the pitchers for this weekend from South Carolina have trouble finding the zone?
The one for the Game 3 matchup is. At times, they all have been. They don't have as strong of a bullpen or starting pitching lineup as the Mississippi States that we played. The even LSU has a better, in my opinion, better pitching lineup, and definitely have done very well, even against Vandy and Florida, where they swept Florida. But once Vandy gets up with their superior pitching, there's no comparison. And I believe that we're a little above grade when it comes to South Carolina, even though we've taken some hits and we're kind of reeling in our middle lineup,
Okay.
in our
Go
in
ahead.
our bullpen. Excuse me.
South Carolina's Sunday pitcher. I'm assuming that's Drew McDaniel for Ole Miss.
Absolutely, he'll be back out there, and he got kind of shelled last week. And the fortunate thing with baseball is you can allow 6 runs on 9 hits and 2.2 innings of work and still come away without a blemish on your win-loss record. So without the blemish, he's still at 4-0. But he goes up against Will Sanders for South Carolina, who's 6'2", 2.7 ERA, and he's a 6'6" 195-pound pitcher. He's very long, very lean, but has a very fast action to the plate. And the thing about Sanders is he throws the fastball very well once again as well. He will be in the low to mid 90s, occasionally with a 94 mile an hour fastball. And he also mixes in the changeup really well and works it to offset uh, that fastball. So he also has a 12-6 curve that has tight spin and a hard down break. So it's going to throw the hitter off quite a bit. But a pitcher that long of a frame this early in his career, it's very difficult to keep the moving parts going the right way. The mechanics start to lose their he starts to lose his form and his mechanics, if you will, especially as the game goes along. Uh, this kid's going to be a great kid once he gets to his junior year. So he's going to be an excellent pitcher. It's a good thing we get to play him this year. I believe he's a freshman, so he's still working out all the kinks, if you will, and getting his mechanics fine tuned for the next stage of his career.
All right, switching over to the batting order for the South Carolina Gamecocks, I am a little bit concerned because the one thing I know about South Carolina is their ability to hit the long ball, and I worry with our fastball centric pitchers, there's going to be a chance for balls leaving the park. Am I wrong there?
No, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. Two guys that I'm really worried about for Ole Miss, and the Rebs have got to come out and attack these guys. So the first guy I'll mention is Brady Allen. Brady Allen is typically the leadoff, or he's been in the number 2 and the number 3 hole. His batting average, he's batting for 320 right now, but he's got 11 home runs, one of 2 Gamecocks to have more than 10 home runs. And he also has 8 stolen bases when he gets on. So we want to limit this guy. We want to tie this guy down, preferably when we want to strike him out at the plate and not even allow him on the bases. But he's one of them. The other one that I'm concerned about is Wes Clark. Wes Clark has 15 home runs on the season so far. Just Wes Clark. So I mean those are pretty gaudy numbers when you look at hitting. So we're going to want to pitch really carefully, really deliberately in our pitch selection and in our location.
Yeah, it sounds like a couple of people that you just really don't want to mess around with. Other than those two, what are we looking at just with the rest of their lineup?
Sure. Most of them are in the high 200s, uh, anywhere from 240 to 270, 270, yeah, 278 batting average. So you get a lot of pitch outs, or excuse me, strikeouts with this team. And that's where I think we'll need to make our focus, striking out the guys that we can get, that we know we can get, and we've got plenty of video on these guys. I'm sure they've gone through this quite a bit this week, and Coach B is really been in the video room just making sure that he can spot uh, these guys' tendencies, and I think that's where we need to concentrate in the middle part of that lineup, middle to the bottom of the lineup.
Okay. And switching over to Ole Miss's bullpen. Now we got 3.1 innings from Jack Doherty. Without that, him putting up one earned run during that change, that comeback can't happen.
That's right.
Do you think we're starting to find something a little bit in the bullpen and a couple extra arms?
I do, and on Doherty, he's of course, the freshman that had the red shirt taken off of him. He's got a lot more potential than that goes beyond just the bullpen after this year. This year we've got the number of starting pitchers we need so far. Let me say that I don't want that to come back and get us and us have to go to another change because of an injury or anything. But Jack, allowing him to come back out into the from the bullpen, that will allow him the ability to learn from his teammates, learn from his mistakes, and I believe Coach Bianco has really found kind of a crown jewel in the rough, a diamond in the rough, if you will, a diamond in the rough in that bullpen. So by doing that, he's also made this other change by moving Diamond into the bullpen, which, if you remember on the times that he's come in, he started in Gunner's place on Friday night and actually did a very good job while he was he was starting in the place for our Friday night ace. I think he should be commended for what he did. He pitched very well. What's letting us down right now is our and I'm not trying to call anybody out or anything like that, but the middle part of our lineup is where we need to have it shored up. If Gunner's good to go this weekend, Friday, and then Nikhazy starts and McDaniel starts, and they can have decent outings. I would say 6 innings from the first two guys to 4 innings from McDaniel. Let him grow, keep continuing to progress. Then you can bring in Jack Doherty. You can bring in Derek Diamond to eat up some of those middle innings and pitch around them. Make them more of a surprise and use those plus fastballs and plus pitches where we need to. Then you get to our closer. Poor Taylor Broadway. I hate to say anything bad about him. I mean, he went out there and performed a gutsy performance, and hats off to him. And I think he's going to be relied on to do more of that this year. But if you went up to him and interviewed him right now, he'd probably be saying, "You know what? I want the ball in my hands at any time. Give it to me." So we're going to get past that.
Yeah, you don't get that role that he has without having that mindset to begin with. Well, that is our Ole Miss versus South Carolina preview with Chad Smith. Thank you for tuning in. For Chad, I'm Steve, and of course, I leave you with Hotty Toddy.